increase in days on the market from 130 days to 26 days, and the prices are up 4%. In fact, the days on the market are all down except for one subdivision, First Colony. These figures represent all homes in these communities, by the way, even though new construction market is just about obsolete at this time. Look at Wellington. Days on the market, 50 down to 6, with an 8% increase in price. That's absolutely incredible.
Is this for the same time period, December 19 to December 20?
No, that is from December of 2017 to December of 2020.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to give you the biggest broad spectrum to give you an overall feel of the market. So what all does this mean? There are not enough houses out there to meet public demand. Let me repeat from a moment ago, low inventory and multiple offers on in-demand properties and market segments are likely to remain common while the market waits and hopes for a boost in new construction. This illustrates the very core economic principles of supply and demand. Prices are up, public need is high, and the supply is very, very low. I'd now like to discuss section 1806.04 of the zoning ordinance to explain how this rezoning is consistent with the elements of the adopted comprehensive plan. The community's facilities plan. The goal is to provide adequate fire protection and provide law enforcement system that supports it. There's a fire property, and I think we can all agree that the law enforcement community does an outstanding job protecting all of us. The land use plan. The goal is to maintain and expand residential density patterns that will produce desirable concentrations of residents and will not overburden the county's transportation network or public facilities. Yes, this is a residential development, and we're doing our part to expand residential opportunities for the people. Transportation network, it sounds like a fancy word for roads, so let's talk about it. The county has already completed road improvements, such as channelizing the eastbound right turn lane at Striblin Road at Catlett Road intersection, widening, restriping Gluckstadt Road to provide 2 eastbound lanes from Bozeman Catlett Road to I-55, the signalized intersection of Church Road, Calhoun Station Parkway, and removed an all-way stop from Germantown Road to Striblin Road extension. These are ones that are already completed. Other planned projects that are being worked on: widening Catlett Road to 3 lanes from Striblin Road extension to Falls Crossing, also with signalizing the intersection of Catlett Road and Striblin Road extension. Construction is anticipated to start in 2022 and will take approximately 9 months. Number 2, widening Bozeman Road from Highway 463 to Reunion Parkway with a potential widening to Gluckstadt Road. This project is currently in the right-of-way acquisition phase. Anticipated construction is possibly late this year to early next year and should take 9 months to a year to complete. Extension of the Reunion Parkway East to Parkway East, and then extending Reunion Parkway east to Highway 51. This is also in the right-of-way acquisition phase, and this could go into construction this year and take about a year to complete. That's progress. That's the Board of Supervisors making things happen. So there are a lot of things that have happened already, and there is a lot more coming. Roadway construction just takes time, just like developing neighborhoods. I'd like to give you this letter. So this is a letter from Neil Schaefer Engineering Firm, and on the first page at the bottom it states that the current and planned improvements to the area roadways and adjacent intersections are likely going to accommodate the residential growth anticipated from this development. In our current COVID-19 pandemic, forecasters are still saying traffic may even decline up to 10% with distance learning from schools and people working from home. Our new houses can even attest to this because the home office has returned as a major trend in public need in the construction market. Today is February 11th, 2021. This community is going to take a long time to develop the first section, the first one. So let's say sometime in the middle of 2023, this development may open to building houses. It's then going to take 6 months after that for the first houses to be completed. As far as this development goes, we have time for these planned roadways to be built. The comprehensive plan also states that it is necessary to review and revise plans periodically in light of unforeseen events or changing conditions. When the comprehensive plan was approved, did they anticipate Amazon coming? No way. Did they anticipate job growth? Absolutely. But nothing like Amazon. That's 1,000 jobs coming here to Madison County right now. The transportation plan. To provide an efficient and safe the goal is to provide efficient and safe transportation system which will meet the travel demands of motorists with the objective to implement traffic operational improvements and major road projects such as widening thoroughfares and constructing new roads which will need to provide better traffic flow. The things that have happened and that are going to happen, I believe I've already addressed this earlier here, but I'd like to examine one more fact. In that Neal Schaefer letter, could you turn to the last page? You will see in Table 1 the trip generation. This is very important because it shows that in 2023, the year that this may open, at peak morning times, and peak is when people are leaving for school, leaving for work, this community may be adding 17 cars to the road. Let me repeat, 17 cars to the road in 2023. You might hear the roads are at capacity right now. They may or may not be. I don't know where that information is from. But I do know that the vehicles from this community won't be hitting the roads until 2023. They're not coming tomorrow. They're not coming next day. They're not coming next month. They're not even coming next year. In 2023, after all these enhancements I've mentioned are either completed or near completed, 17 cars during the peak of the morning, 19 cars in the peak of the afternoon. You know how long it takes 17 to 19 cars to go through a stoplight? About 30 seconds. Don't deny these 87 families the life-changing opportunity to live here. 3 years is a long time from now, and a lot of things will be different because of the road enhancements and improvements. The change in the character of neighborhood has happened. The public need is there, and the elements of the comprehensive plan have been met. This area is a great place to live, and we all believe that. These 87 families are counting on you, and the future of Madison County is hoping for you to say yes. That is the end of my presentation. Now I can be quiet and ask and sit here and answer some questions that you might have.
Anybody have any questions? No questions?
Mr. Miller, you have any questions on that?
I do not.
Thank you. Opposition?
Is this just one?
That's one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Scott, is this person speaking in opposition?
Yes, sir. This is Andy Clark. She's getting her stuff ready.
Okay.
Apologies. My name's Mimi Spire, and that's Speyerrer, and I live in, Belle Terre subdivision. And first of all, LFP's application does not have the certified return receipts attached to it showing service on the adjoining landowners as required by Section 806.05B of the zoning ordinances. So notification of this rezoning request. After extensive study, Madison County adopted the comprehensive of 2019, R1. As far as requesting change in the case, he has not shown, but as far as the change in the character of the neighborhood, his own testimony shows that there have only been 2 changes in the rezoning in this area since the zoning map was adopted. The Denham, Nichols, and Segrist request which is Exhibit E in my exhibits, to rezone from SU1 to R1 was approved after the zoning map was adopted in November. Regardless of what the reasons were for the people requesting the rezoning, it was rezoned to R1. Mr. Shoemaker's other property, which is on Catlett Road, across from First Colony, was rezoned from R1 to R2 after the zoning map was adopted. And that is on appeal to the circuit court at this moment. The Sarton property, which is north of this current property, was rezoned. You approved it in November of 2019, before the zoning map was adopted. It was A1, and it was rezoned to R2. It was not adopted. It was not rezoned after the zoning map was adopted. So he has to prove a change in the character of the neighborhood since the official map was adopted in November of 2019. He has not shown that. There's been 1 property rezoned to R2, 1 property rezoned to R1. It's a wash. So you can't say the neighborhood's all changed to R2, because that's not the case. And approximately 5.5 miles from this property, this board I can't remember if it was November or December, it's my Exhibit Q, approved a rezoning in the New Castle subdivision from R3 to R1. And that's about 5.5 miles from this property. So I contend he has not shown that there has been a change in the character of the neighborhood since the adoption of the zoning map, which is what Madison County's zoning ordinances require. As far as a public need, I don't concede there is a public need, but even if there is, the Sarton property and Rand's property, assuming it is affirmed on appeal, those are 104 homes that have been approved on Catlett Road as of right now. There is no more need for additional housing on Catlett Road at this point in time. The infrastructure cannot handle it. Mr. Shoemaker said he doesn't know where the statistics that these roads are over capacity. In May of 2016, the South Madison County Transportation Study, which is Exhibit F, and in October of 2017, the Madison County Gluckstadt Road Corridor Study, which is Exhibit G, And then there are also some maps from the Mississippi Department of Transportation show that the existing infrastructure surrounding this property was either at capacity or had surpassed its capacity, and this was in 2016. There have been no improvements on Catlett Road or Bozeman Road since 2016. So the D, that shows the list of the subdivisions on Bozeman, Catlett, Gluckstadt, Stribling, and Stribling Extension roads that have been approved since this traffic study was done.
Do we have, I'm sorry, but do we have these exhibits?
Scott has them.
I'm sorry?
I have them right here. She just gave them to me. Do you want to look at them?
Yeah, she's referring to them, and we don't have them to look at.
Well, I've given them to y'all in the past, and y'all never looked at them, so sorry, but I didn't want to waste the copying of them, so I didn't make
No,
Five copies.
I was just asking.
They're the same exhibits I've given y'all the last 2 times I've been here fighting rezoning. But the traffic studies are Exhibit F and G and H in there. And at the January 2021 Board of Supervisors meeting, they granted Bozeman Road project a 1-year extension on getting the rights of way to complete that project. So they will not be starting construction this year, probably not even next year, because they were given a year extension, and that is Exhibit R, my Exhibit R. And as far as the Neil Schaefer, but if it's the same one he's submitted before, it is not a traffic study. It is Neil Schaefer saying that the roads can likely hold, not hold, but can carry another 87 houses. And then that says, you know, they may have the roads done in time. That's not a traffic study. That's not proof that the roads can handle. And where they say it's another 17 cars for 87 houses, they obviously have never been on Bozeman and Catlett Road. These pictures are from June and August, when school is not in session. I sat in my car the other day 15 minutes from Cherry Hill subdivision to try to get into Belterre because the traffic was so backed up. And the roads cannot handle any more homes on Catlett Road. Fix the roads, widen the roads, then you can build all the houses you want. I don't care, but right now I do care. I can't get out of my subdivision. You can't turn left out of Belterre onto Bozeman in the morning and you sit and wait in traffic to get in the afternoon. And the Madison County comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinances don't say you can allow development when you're working on the roads. It says the comprehensive plan and designed to lessen congestion in the streets to avoid, actually this is Mississippi Code section 17.1-9 says, zoning regulations shall be made in accordance with a comprehensive plan and designed to lessen congestion in the streets to avoid undue concentration of population. This section was incorporated in the residential goals of the Madison County Comprehensive Plan, which states, objective, to locate higher density residential developments, which is what they are trying to do, in areas where the infrastructure will support development. It doesn't say where they might, in some time out in the future, support residential development. support, the infrastructure will support it. It says it will, not it may, which is basically what that Neil Schaefer letter says. As for going back, I got distracted on my public need. As I said, there's been 104 homes approved on Catlett Road in 2020. If there's a need on Catlett Road, there's 104 homes that have already been approved and people can move into. Amazon people can move into these 104 homes. Countywide, in Ashley Ridge, Highlands 90 lots, and Woodscape 24. And on today's agenda is a development called Madisonville, which will be 443 lots if it's approved. So if there is a public need, these developments are much further along than this. And this would solve any housing shortage in Madison County. Just this past summer, when we had the RANS rezoning hearings, Mr. Shoemaker was complaining that he couldn't sell his houses in First Colony and that there were 8 houses for sale in Belterre. Well, the real estate market is cyclical, and the reason why people are buying houses now is because interest rates are so low, but that changes. And if he's not even going to start construction till 2023, how does that solve this desperate need he says there is on Catlett Road? It won't solve it, but those 104 other houses that have already been approved and rezoned will. Let's see. I'm trying to think. It seems like I had one more thing to say, but I think that's probably all I have to say. Anyone has any questions?
Any questions?
Is your concern, I heard a couple of different things. One is that the petition is not properly
It's deficient.
filed. Yeah, it's deficient. And the second was the more practical concern that you had and it's essentially the traffic. Is that correct?
Well, it's the fact that the comprehensive plan says this is what you have to follow in order to get rezoning. This is what we've done. This is why we adopted the official zoning map as it is. But we're just ignoring that. The traffic is not necessarily it's not the public need and the change in the character, which is what you have to do, but it's the offshoot of the fact that the infrastructure cannot handle more houses on Catlett Road. And the comprehensive plan says in order to approve developments, the infrastructure has to be able to handle it. And the last time I was here, Mr. McKay told me those are just words. Well, they're not just words. That's what the Mississippi Code says. That section 17(1-9) says to lessen congestion in the streets. And approving another subdivision on Catlett Road is not going to lessen the congestion in the street. Fix the roads, widen the roads, I don't care. Build as many subdivisions as you want, as long as the roads can handle it. I'm not against development. I've lived in Madison County 30 years. I'm not against development, but I am against when the rules and the law says this is what you have to do to approve a rezoning, and those rules and laws are not being followed. And just approving another subdivision of 87 homes, which I live in Belterre. Every person in my neighborhood drives their kid to school every morning. There will be more than 17 cars coming out of that subdivision. And it's terrible. I mean, so I kind of went off, but that's the real problem. I mean, he hadn't met the public need and the change in the character, which is legally what he has to do, but then you shouldn't be approving it because your comprehensive plan says the infrastructure has to be able to handle the development, and it can't right now.
Thank you.
Well, your main concern is the traffic.
No.
That's what I keep hearing.
Well, my main concern is he hasn't shown a public need and a change in the character. The traffic is just an additional factor in why you shouldn't approve this rezoning. But because the traffic's bad, that's not a legal standard for how you can have property rezoned. The traffic is just an effect of you approving more rezoning on Catholic, more houses to be built on Catlett Road.
Any other questions?
There are other people here, I believe, that want to speak in opposition.
Mr. Rouser, we're having some technical issues. We're probably gonna have to take just a couple of minutes break if
Okay.
we can. If that's okay?
Yes, sir.